You good?
Wait one moment. Let me share you the live link. I'll share you the
Oh, you
link.
shared
So
it.
And imagine when we came here, when I came here, we never had this thing that
You can do it. Put it in the light.
it looks
Okay.
bright.
It looks a bit dark.
Yes. Because they won't see the projector, right? If you put on the light.
That's fine. Okay. So wait.
Have you shared to the announcement? Yeah, the link. You can share to the announcement group.
There's that thing called what? Adara. Yeah. The people used to host in houses. It was really people like every Monday. Come to someone's house.
I still remember this people. And this people I used to go because many people were kids by then. Because now, it's also really kids. When I went there, and the only person I know was my kids.
I remember who asked the question. My son. Go to bed. What did you read?
Right?
Oh, you're in the lights. Okay, yeah.
And I need to go for a shit.
Okay, cool.
Those are very good platforms, actually.
Very good platform.
For people, and someone can just say one way, but
Yeah, they do actually relate to it.
Are they coming? Okay. We'll start very soon. You good to go?
You can change that one and let them pay the back.
Okay.
Can you give me a mic? To shout.
Yes. So you're bringing the thing closer to me. Want to make? Okay.
I think when you're dealing with Africans, they always say we can decide.
Yeah. I call it it's a form of segregation.
So we try to bridge the gap.
It's a good idea. Yes. Okay, so good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for coming to the conclusion of the ACCW's project on family and sexual violence prevention. As most of you will be aware, this project is funded by the Ministry for Social Development, and they have made the funding available for this project. I would, in a moment, take you through a few, if you like, the project journey for you to see where we have come from and where we have ended up. But before I do that, I am going to just I'm going to help us to have a prayer, and then after the prayers, we're going to, as it were, do a few housekeeping, and then we'll start the prayer. Auntie Faith, if you can please pray for us. Today I have not targeted Papa, but I've targeted his household. Please pray for us, yes.
Thank you, Lord, for this time that we are together. Thank you for the conversations we're having. Thank you for inspiration, Lord, to our thoughts, and for unity, because where there is unity, you command your blessing. We thank you, Lord, for honoring conversations that we will listen to hear each other, not to judge, but also to listen into your inspiration to our inner person. We thank you, Lord, for this session. We ask that you bless it. We thank you for your protection and your grace. and your favor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Aunt Faith. So a few housekeeping. So this is the Mongaraki Community Hall. In the event of an emergency, please drop, cover, and watch. Hold. And if we have to exit today, I'll be your, if you like, how do we usually call it?
Warden.
I'll be the warden for today. But if you can run, as I said during the Zoom event, if you can run a bit faster than me, there's one exit here. As you can see, the light is open, but that's an exit. Once you press it, it will open. There's an exit through the main door that you came through. If you should find yourself in where the toilets are, you can see the sign that's directing you that there is an exit over there, and you can get out there and please just stand around the pavement there with us. If you should go into any of these two doors to my right, then you can go onto the school field and then be there and wait for us. If you find yourself in the kitchen area, maybe you have eaten some salad and you want to wash your hands in the kitchen, there's an exit door to the kitchen. There's an event going on in the supper room, so as much as possible, if we have to use the kitchen, please let's be mindful that there's another group there. But there's also an exit there, and if there's an emergency in your approach there, you can just exit from that side. But touch wood, and by the grace of God, that nothing is going to happen. And if you want to use the toilet, if you just go up the stairs where Charity and Juliet are coming from, there's a female toilet here, then there's the male toilet at the far end there. We are having kids to supervision, but we have asked that the kids join us from the beginning, and then at some point in time in the conversation, we can let them use us for us so that they will be here just from the beginning, and then at some point in time they will go. So if you have a child, and I think most of you have already handed your kids over, Juliet and Charity and Jonathan, you guys are doing they would ask for a picture of them for us. So well, so there's Zoom event, and so they are here to help us. So now let's get back to this. Why are we here? We are here because the government of New Zealand realized that family and sexual violence have become very prevalent in the country, and among the OC, I don't want to go into the statistics, but New Zealand has one of the highest rates of family and sexual violence, looking at our numbers and all that. So the government have been working in various ways to resolve the issue. And one of the things that they came up with was that ethnic communities are a core group of people who now are almost more than 1 million of the 500 and the 5 million plus people who live in New Zealand. So they thought that some of the issues that there will be solutions to them within the same communities where the issues emanate from. So just to be clear that family violence affects all communities, it is not a particular group or a particular race or whatever. It happens across all various population groups. So what government decided to do was to make a fund available for community groups, in this case ethnic communities, to have conversations about the issue and find community solutions to them. And that is the reason why the project was instituted. So the ACCW executives applied for the funding. We were successful. The money was brought in. And this guy with the bow hair was asked at some point in time after the money was we got the money to run the project. Now, certain things have been put in place already when I became a member of the board. And so we started the project. And thanks to Wallace, Kosam, Ben, and all other executive members who are not here, but more importantly to the Ministry for Social Development, those lovely ladies who we have been working with over the period, who supported us to make sure that this project becomes a reality. Now, as I journey through, you will see the various places that we've gone to, but when we started the project, what were the concepts that we developed to deliver this project and make sure that we deliver it well? Just so you know, I'll be doing a lot of the talking today, but we'll have time to have discussion because we have to be out of here by 4 p.m. Now, what actually happened was that when we got the project, when we did the planning, we decided that we know there are smaller community groups that usually hardly will be able to meet to have the program. And so for those smaller groups, ACCW was going to have what we call ACCW-wide programs, where we hold it and people from other smaller communities, or even they belong to communities that are more organized, but they don't have time to attend those functions that will be organized for them. then they can all come and have the conversation. And when we get it through, you see some of those sessions. Now we also decided that, so we actually divided the project into two, and I've spoken about the first one. The second part was that there are organized communities like the Zimbabwe community, the Nigerian community, who can actually hold their own projects and have conversation among themselves. They are large enough to hold a function. So with those groups, ACDO will partner with them, provide funding, and we can support them to get resource persons, or if they have people within their community who already know they have the knowledge, then they can speak to the issues, and then it will be helpful. Just so you know, the focus of the project is all about prevention. So like all the conversation we have been having over the period, it's not so much around who did what, who did not do what. It's about how do we prevent it from happening in the first place. And that has been the focus. But of course, to do that, sometimes you have to start from a point of view of knowledge. You can't assume that everybody understands what it means about family and sexual violence here. Of course, through this project, I also got to know a lot of things that obviously I had not thought that constitute family violence. But through my research and leading the project, I got to know that actually this also constitutes family and sexual violence. So that is how we went through the project. And so these are some of the things that we went through. So we started off the project with what we call a panel discussion, which was an ACCW-wide project. We thought that it was very important that we, as it were, set the tone, or what Ben would usually call like a kickoff, where people understand what we want to do, what are the key issues we're looking at, and all that. We had a panel discussion. We have this distinguished guest appear on the panel, spoke to the issues, people had conversation. And just so you know, the project was also spread across the region reasonably. We were in Lower Hart, we were in Johnsonville, we were in Upper Hart. We kind of distributed it. And we also, as you will see, also tried to track various population groups like former refugees, the Leo community and all that, just to make sure that actually we get into the community properly. Now, so this was the panel discussion that we had. What were some of the things that we had? Now, we had a lot, but just trying to use a few infographics and other stuff to demonstrate how the thing, because we are going to have some few discussions. And the discussion that we are going to have among ourselves today is, what is it that we have left out? And what is it that we have to amplify more because we see a certain trend? And then also, what is it that we think, well, people have spoken about, but really, I don't agree with it. I think we should look at it in a certain way. Those are the three things that will guide our discussion. But when we get there, I'll speak with them. So with the panel discussion, Denise spoke. She spoke about 6 pillars of cultural intervention. I will not go into details because we won't have enough time to talk about it. Thomas spoke about the fact that when we talk about family and sexual violence, forget about it and don't say it's a particular community issue. It's a human rights issue. So if you are abusing somebody, you should know that you are stepping on that person's human rights. Vera, who spoke on the youth, spoke about how youth are very vulnerable, and for us to also be mindful that issues around education and trauma support is something that we need concerning those things so that they will know how to navigate those things. Now, we had the police speak, and this talked about trusted police communication. So police wanted to build that communication and that kind of collaboration with communities so that they can support communities throughout. And they also wanted to be seen that they are partners in this. They are not necessarily here that they want to get in and just break somebody's home, pick up a father and take them away. They will usually work with families and other stuff before things get out of hand. So you will see that one of the key things, the community members who are the project, they spoke about how they think that we should not forget about the fact that men are also victims of sexual violence. It was a key thing that people spoke about. They also spoke about how it is very important to help youth with mental health and outreach programs, because sometimes there's support for women. We are now talking about men also having this, but how about the youth? We shouldn't forget about them. So these are some of the things, and people spoke about the fact that we have to emphasize that it's not a cultural thing, but it's actually something that people go through. Then, this was one that was held for the Kenyan community. This was one who was held for the Kenyan community. And some of the things that came up during that discussion was around breaking silence and then building trust within the community so that when people are affected, they know who to go to. Where they are afraid, they have trusted people that they can discuss. They were also interested in issues around early warning signals. When things happen, if you, the one who is a perpetrator, you already know someone you can trust, you can start discussing them. I'm having these tendencies, and sometimes I think that I'm being abusive. And you can have a conversation with somebody who you trust, who the next day you not go and hear them saying it to another person that this guy has been hitting people all over and all that. So those are some of the things. So also the core themes that they spoke about were challenges and stigma and cultural taboos, which sometimes means that when people are going through some of these things, they are unable to talk about it because they think, I don't want anyone to hear that my husband is beating me or my wife has been beating me, which is even the worst. That sometimes comes. And the woman has been beating you, you have been sitting down, and all those things. Some of the key issues, emotional abuse, which was actually highlighted a lot. And then there was also the psychological, and then the various interventions that they talked. So that was for the Kenyan community. Now we also work with the Leo community. We work with the Leo community. And with the Leo community, and at some point in time, I'll stop because there's a lot, and we can't go through all of them because of the time. So the Nigerian one, and I think the Zambian one, we will not be talking about. There are a few that I will just complete. So this was the Leo community. They spoke about emotional, spiritual, and financial things that sometimes people find themselves in it. And then they spoke about how some of the barriers to people even reporting some of these things that happen to them has to do with issues around immigration and even language, because the person can express themselves to actually say what somebody is doing to them. And then they proffer some solutions around how we are able to plan for the safety of people and then finding culturally appropriate services, so to speak. Then this was for former refugees. Former refugees, this was held in Newtown. And what are some of the things that we discussed with former refugees? So former refugees also spoke about, sometimes people don't even understand if we say family and sexual violence. What is it? It is very important that we have clear definitions and also understand what constitutes family harm. Because always when we hear family and sexual violence, sometimes it is limited to the wife, the mother and the father. And sometimes we forget that the kids are also sometimes abused, where a parent, either of the parents are abusing the child. So it was very important. They spoke about how cultural and legal tension sometimes also makes it a bit difficult for people to navigate, because there may be cultural issues that may stop the person from talking about issues, but then also sometimes even there are legal issues because the person is not so sure about if you like, some of the, they are not so sure about where to get help and all that, or the legal process is too tedious for them. Sorry, I can't see, so I have to read from the screen here. They spoke about the role of the police. The police should be seen as protectors and collaborators, and not just enforcers. And it was something that was emphasized. They spoke about refuge for women to offer more cultural appropriate services. So you can see a certain team that is coming out. They emphasize education and dialogue and culturally competent teams again. Mental health to support people who have gone through abuse, and they are also having mental health issues, which sometimes also, it's not only because they have gone through abuse and they have the mental health challenge, but because they have also been abused, they go and also abuse them, which is also sometimes. So your father treated me so badly, and you are also coming to, your father hit me last time, and I'm annoyed with him, and you, the child, you also worry me in the house. I'll take it on you. These are some of the things that people spoke about during the former refugee sessions. Now we also had the Ghanaian community also had their session, and these are some of the things that we also discussed. So they talked about how there are also emotional abuses. They talked about how silence and stigma may make people not to discuss things that is happening to them, blah, blah, blah. They spoke about the need for safer spaces, and then also how parenting challenges sometimes can arise. And so if we are able to resolve those issues, it may lead to a successful thing, because and the issue about parenting thing is something that actually came up. We discussed it a lot, both at the panel discussion and also at the Ghanaian community event, because all the key things was around the whole issue around the generational gap that is in between our children and ourselves, and then also the cultural difference. So obviously you may be 35 or 45 and your child is 12 or 13. They were born in New Zealand and they go to school here. What the culture there, they are friends, they are social media, they come to church, they hear something different. Then you also try, you have come from Africa, surely African, and you are trying to. So there is always that kind of conflict, generationally and then culturally, that also come up. And how parents are able to navigate those things would also help prevent this from occurring. There was also issues around how taking pride in our culture can help us actually deal with some of the issues. If there are good things within the community that we take pride in and say, we don't do this, we don't hit a woman and those kind of things, it's something that we take pride in, then we are able to use that as a way of trying to emphasize that for other people, so that once they are able to imbibe, then they can stay away from providing all those things. Getting involved. And just yesterday, we had a youth event which has been long in coming, but we were able to do it yesterday. And so you can just imagine that it was last minute because today was the evaluation. The youth also discussed some of the things, and they were interested in how youth are being victimized, because some of them sometimes will be out during the night or go for events, sometimes in their school event, or even in the school, in the classroom. Just a couple of days ago, I had a friend in some part of New Zealand, I will not mention, and his son in school, somebody actually pulled a knife on the son in class because the person has taken his something and blah, blah, blah. So how do they, the youth, navigate some of these things so that it doesn't lead to violence and those kind of stuff? Sometimes some of them, depending on the neighborhood where they live, if they are playing with other kids and other stuff, it can lead to some of this violence issues or bullying, as sometimes we call it. They spoke about how this can impact them in terms of trauma, issues around mental health, and other form of violence. They gave some solution around issues around not being judgmental, because sometimes people will say, well, what did you go and do there? All that youth are in the house. Who told you to go there? You know these people. And they will review that they live in the community. Don't forget, you have brought them here, and so they will still relate with other people. How do they navigate this so that they don't find themselves wanting and all those kind of stuff? So it was something. And then, of course, they thought that when we won't have this discussion, sometimes it's all prepared for the big people, like adult people. They want more youth-focused discussions and education on how the needs of youth to navigate this thing and also to prevent this from happening to them in the first place. So, that was the youth event. So there are certain key insights that came from both the panel discussion, the Kenyan session, and pardon me because I wanted to make friends available so that you can make reference to them. But I'm happy to unplug this and bring it around for more perspective because I'm rushing through everything. But you can take some time if your glasses allow you, and for those who have heard, you can see. Some of the key insights that we have drawn out of what we have heard that far. Mind you, I've not spoken about the one that the women's group had. We've not spoken about the one that the men's group also had. And we've not spoken about the one that the Zambian community also had. I think those are the three that I have not, in the Nigerian community. So 4 groups we have not represented here. Because of time, we can't go through everything. But this is a kind of a snapshot of what we have heard over the last year since the project started. And our sense is that there are more issues that have not been discussed. We cannot exhaust them here, even in this very meeting. But our single purpose in today's meeting is you have attended some sessions before. You have never attended any of them before. Is there anything And even if you have heard it before, you can still say it because it re-emphasizes that it's an important point for us to look at. There's when we are considering issues around prevention, right? So what we are going to do in the next maybe 20 minutes, because we will, after that, we will take a break, have some time, and come and complete out of here by 4. Is that there are 3 key things that I want you, the various tables, to discuss. As 4, so we'll split it into 2. First of all, what is it that you have said before, but you want to re-emphasize it? You can put it down on the paper, and you can also have the discussion among yourself. That's 1. 2, what is it that you have not heard here today that you think we should be putting it down? Then when we come back from the break, we'll be dealing with what is it that you think we have left out, which is different from what you think you have not heard today. What have we left out, which you think is very, very important, it has to go into the document. We will deal with that. And then I'll look at my prompts here. I'll give you a second topic that you will also deal with. Then we'll call it a day. Now, one of the things that we are planning to do is that we just don't want to do this thing and then, as it were, just leave it like that. We are intending to pull most of these things together into a publication, which we are working on currently with a contractor. So everything that you say will be taken on board, and it will be very important that if only it is something that can help our community, that you are able to say it, and then we are able to incorporate it. Now, the reason why we are doing it is not only to show government that we are a responsible community, but we are also doing that for prosperity, because that document will become a living document that people can refer to. And then, of course, if government is considering policy, okay, you have had your discussion, you have had your car in the government was not here. He gave you the money, you have offered the decision. Yes, there's a report that will go to MSD, but wouldn't it be nice that the African community has its own publication on this issue? That government can always, or when we are meeting, we can put it on the table and say, yes, what we have views are on this, and taken into consideration when policy is being developed. So that's the reason why we're going to do that. So there were also some common themes. So everything that we had, that we drew, we also wanted to see some of the themes that were common. But I'm going to stop here because of time, but I'm going to leave this here that you can refer to, and also kind of begin those things in your conversation. So at this juncture, it looks like the kids are already listening. So I think I'm going to break us into 3 groups. 3 groups actually. I know the adults are busy with the kids, but we can leave the kids here to do the other thing, because I want you guys to participate and they can do their own thing. We're going to have groups of 3. So should I start naming?
1, 2, 3.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So 1, please come here. 1 here. 1 here. 2 here. You can separate your table so that you can have your discussion. 3 here. Yes, thank you. So, basically, for the first discussion, do you remember what we are supposed to discuss? I want to see if you know what you're doing. Yes, please remind them.
The first one is rehashing issues. So what points do you want to rehash? The second one is any new issues. Are there any new issues that haven't been highlighted? And the third one is missing points. Why? Are there new issues or missing points? And the fourth one is going to give us.
I'm going to give you that was going to be my voice. I was putting that in my mouth to take
That
that
is
voice.
very
I forgot what it is. And the ladies are
Yeah, the one is good experience.
yes. We are here to look after them.
Don't we have another one? Number 3.
So we have a new, we have a new. We'll come back to it when we finish it. Okay. We have 5 minutes to wrap up your discussion. And if you can have someone to speak to some of the staff, 5 minutes, that will be good. We have 5 minutes. And then holiday.
But how to
wanted to thank the community people. A lot of them. Parties, and we don't need to say. Okay. We'll call it a wrap. In our time, we say, I'm going if we appreciate that when they give the interesting, but it doesn't get it. So at some point, I'll wrap it up. But I know I can see that there are interesting conversations going on around some of the tables. So if you have, I didn't tell you from the beginning, but I did say midway for somebody from the table to speak to some of the things. And please keep the copies because I'll be taking photos of them and be taking them away. When I get the photos, I'll be glad to it will be fine. But we also have it because we're talking about it, we also capture it on video. Right? Let's start from table 3.
No trouble.
Yes. Let's hear it table 3.
Okay, we've got new issues here.
Okay.
Our first one is financial abuse.
Okay.
This financial abuse is mostly targeted at women.
Yes.
They are the main complainants. To say in a family household, they don't have an opinion which is heard. They might have an opinion, but nobody listens to them. By nobody, I mean the husband or the partner,
Okay.
male partner.
Yes.
The wife can say, let's do this with the money, but the husband won't take it. That's the first point that we made.
Yes.
And also, certain transactions are done without the wife's knowledge.
Okay.
The wife is only told when everything is out in the open, and she has got no control over it,
Okay.
which is the form of abuse that we have noted.
Yeah.
And when decisions are made,
Yes.
women are never consulted or are not consulted. Things just happen, and the wife has got no choice but to say yes, because there is no way you can say no when the money has already been paid. We're only being told, we're not being asked. That's the problem. There is breakdown of communication.
Yes.
Then the other thing is about adult children
Yes.
leaving the family household with the comfort of the parents
Yes.
to be independent. Most families are not allowing that. It's kind of a tension between the mother and the father. To say, should the child leave,
Leave or not.
irrespective of the age and whether the child is employed or not.
Yes.
But at a certain age, children are bound to be independent also, but some don't go. So as parents, what do? Do we chase them or do we allow them to go? That's another problem. In other words, we are not giving our children any independence at all. They become our babies forever, irrespective of the age. And it's a conflict between mother and father. As we were discussing here, we have realized that the fathers will allow the sons to go, but the mother will never allow either the son or the daughter to go. For the daughter as men, it will be challenging for us to allow a daughter to go out of the home. I gave an example to say if we were to allow a 20-year-old or a 19-year-old girl and a boy to walk in the streets without anyone knowing that they are dating. 100 times out of 100, the girl will get some form of abuse or some form of challenge, whereas the boy nothing will happen. So for that reason, as men, we will not allow a girl child to go out of the home, irrespective of the age and how much she's making. It's a bit tricky. But as for boys, if you're working, you're earning your own money, why are you staying in the house?
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you very much. Table 3. Table 2.
Table 2. So the things that we thought were important to rehash are education.
Yes.
It's good to have platforms like this where people can come and share their views. Talk about it, talk about issues and where they can get help.
Yeah.
We talked about safe spaces.
Yes.
It's important to have safe spaces where people can freely share their, what's happening in the household.
Yes.
Another thing that we also touched on that we thought was important is that the issue not of sexual violence being a human rights issue, so that it doesn't differentiate between men and women. I think mostly when we talk about this, especially in African settings, normally the thing is that what normally comes up is that men are oppressing women or abusing women, when it's could be vice versa. So we thought that's a point to rehash. On the new issues, I think there's a point that was raised. I think I'll let Eric talk to that issue of the extension of issues outside of the home. I'll let him explain because he made that point. I might not be able to express it better than
the way he passionately spoke about it.
We were talking that most of the time when we discuss this, we talk about it within a home, one family, and where a father or a husband is doing it against the wife or vice versa, or the parents against the children.
Yes.
But listening to the discussion today, we also see that it can happen between families. So a family member from one family doing it against another family member outside in a different family, outside the home, either in a school or at the workplace.
Yes.
So it is something new that from all the discussions we've had throughout the seminar.
Yes.
The narrative has always focused on within a family, but now a new thing coming out from the discussion, they're showing that it can happen between families too.
Yes.
So, like the point of education can help address that, not only within one family, but also helping stopping it from happening between families.
Yes. Thank you so much. So table 3, one of the things that will come back to you, maybe bringing over whether we call it branch or something, that you should be thinking about with some of the issues that you raise. We want to hear some of the ways you think we can prevent it from happening. So you think about it, we'll come back to that. But I think you are not done yet.
So I finish off our point here. There was an issue that we raised on the missing issues, is the gap between someone who is grown up in Africa, who came here as an adult, and against, versus the kids that were born here. How do we bridge that gap between the two cultures? Is it that we should conform, or should they conform, or should we meet halfway? It's a
difficult situation, kind of a dicey situation, which keeps on coming up in most of the discussions And it's always difficult, either you take the extreme, and I know if I start the conversation, we are not going to finish. But it's an issue that we have to deal with, and the question is, how do we navigate that? And that's why we are here. And that is where people would maybe offer solutions. Like somebody has lived here over the years. Like Mama spoke at the Zoom event, sharing some of her experience and how she has navigated it over the years. Trying to juggle the culture here and raising her kids here and all those kind of stuff. So there are various ways of looking at it, listening to some best practices, and also because the key thing that government obviously will not say is that they don't want you to lose your culture. But in that, where those cultural issues also conflict with the law, that's where the tension is. But there's always a way that you should be able to navigate it, and that is what we are interested in, to make sure that it doesn't lead to in trying to enforce your this thing. Yeah. So we'll come back to it. But table one.
Let's speak for table one.
Yes, please go ahead.
Just the rehash.
Okay.
And the key themes that we keep
Yes.
recurring is the focus on women when we talk of family and sexual violence.
Yes.
There's no focus on men in the sense that there's something called women's refuge. Men don't even have a place like that, or you go somewhere to come down. So that focus is there, and we look at the cultural side of things where men don't cry in our culture. Something happens to you, man up. Take it as a man. So men don't talk. So how do we get them to break that silence?
That's how we say it in our language.
Yeah, okay. And then women also don't talk back in our culture. So they receive. If you're being
Go again.
they're not
Not the ones in New Zealand.
Okay.
they're not westernized. Okay. They're no longer African. So that's one of the things women don't talk back. And same for the children as well, like the cultural aspect. What we see as discipline back home here can be termed as abuse. So it brings a different dynamics,
Yes.
to the whole picture.
Yes.
The language for children as well, your child tells you, "Mommy, I'm starving," versus "Mommy, I'm hungry." They say things that it seems too extreme.
Don't be silly, daddy.
Yeah, that kind of language.
Yeah.
And back home, that's an insult.
Back home, it will warrant a nice backhand slap or something. So yes, and then also interracial marriages where there's conflict. People are also marrying from other cultures. So those sort of cultural discrepancies and how do you balance it, meet in the middle, can also lead to violence in the family. And finances is another one as well. The culture, how men are seen as the sole breadwinner or the only income earning person in the family.
Yes.
Versus here you have to work, your wife has to go to work. Double income families.
Yes.
So managing that stuff and how to run the family without conflict. You still have families to support back home. If there's no communication between the husband and wife, things like this could lead to fight. It could lead to the violence and all this. And then we talk about responsibilities in the household. Africa, men don't cook. They don't even wash plates. And then you come here, you have to start washing, doing dishes,
Changing diapers.
Yeah, we have to ban our children. So yes, so those kind of things are what we just elaborated on. Yes.
Thank you so much. So obviously, we'll come back to it. From what you guys have said, we've had some of the issues, and again, just like table one, we want you guys to think about doing, as we are having our food, some of the ways we can prevent what we are talking about from happening. And you will see sometimes the flip side of the problem is one way of thinking about the solution. So I'm giving you a few percent of how we can think about it. Because when we come back, I'll give each table about a minute and a half to wrap up on some of the solutions that they have talked about, based on some of the things that you have actually brought up. In your presentation, you guys spoke about a few of the issues, but then also kind of in a way we're trying to lead us into thinking about some ways that we can deal with it. But you can also start thinking about that before we come back. If the issue is not so pressing, we can take a break. Yes, please.
It's pressing. Sorry, this question is something that's come up as a new issue that has been missed, I think, in the entire
Okay. Yes.
single parent homes.
Okay.
So there's talk
That's a
about
very good
husband,
point.
wife,
Yes.
and all. What is happening to the single parent
Yes.
homes?
Yes.
Are we saying there's no violence in those homes, but there is violence
Yes.
potentially in those
Yes.
homes? What are the pressures that are
Yes.
placed in those single
Single
parent
parents, yes.
Where are they going for
Yes.
solutions?
Yes.
You know, how are their challenges different from the husband and wife situation, from the traditional
Yes.
picture or
Yes.
setting of what is
Yes.
in the family?
Yes. That I think is a very, very important identification because obviously once you talk about family sexual marriage, okay, there should be a man and a woman. There will be something like that. And of course we have the external things that you have drawn attention to, schools and other stuff. But nobody's talking about a parent who lives alone, have to take care of the kids for one reason or the other. She might have come here as a single, or he was here, divorce or something happened here. He or she is taking care of the kids alone. How do we navigate? Because there will be issues, or there will definitely be instances where sometimes there will be violence in those schools. And some people can even actually tell you that there's a likelihood that in those schools sometimes, depending on the culture that is created in the house, these violence issues can be prevalent because either the mother is overwhelmed, so he takes action, takes a lot of the kids, or it could be that the father is very stressed and is not able to take care of the kids. So in that process, it's not so much of a physical abuse, but it can be emotional. The kids are not getting enough attention and all those kind of stuff, and it can lead to some of these things happening. So, and even sometimes, you know, in homes where a mother and a father, usually people will say, you know, they are able to juggle things around and they take care of the kids very well. And if there's only one person, sometimes it's very difficult for them. And so if they in some homes they will say if there's no man in the house, then the kids go wayward because sometimes there's nobody to tell them. And so they grow to a certain level and things cannot be controlled and the woman is not able to control them and then it gets out of hand. And then she may react or sometimes trying to limit them certain things. We're going to pause, and what we're going to say is that bring your food when you take. There's a lot there, and obviously you may be able to carry something. But bring your food when you are taking your food back to your table. I'm going to introduce the second point. Whilst you are eating, but please don't choke. Don't choke. You can start having those discussions. Just so we have time. I thought you were going to listen to what you were going to discuss. Okay, you want to bring your food and I'll come and bring you. There is. Okay, when you get your issue on there, I don't have to stop listening. Let me go on this side. And really green. Maybe on Am I allowed to? everybody has done. We are here, but
Una comedy una adi mi ani kakai.
there's a lot.
But I'm good. I have the family. Awesome. Nice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. More meat, no veggies.
I'll come back for it.
I think I'll need to then I take one.
It may mean you have to do a bit of thinking, but you will get there. So what we want with the two key issues we are going to discuss. The first one is, what is it that you have heard that you don't think should form part of our advice in terms of prevention? You don't think this, I don't think it's important. And then you can give us reasons why you don't think that prevention suggestion is important. The second one, which I said we will engage you in a bit of thinking, but it also means that you may end up repeating certain things. But it's fine if it's a repetition, but we think it's very important for us to put it into various categories. It's more around responsibilities that we think the various layers within the social setting, what our responsibilities will be. So in terms of prevention, what do you think our community can do? And if I say community, either ACCW or the Zim community, the Ghanaian community, what can we do at your level, right, to prevent it from happening? What do you think your families can do to prevent family and sexual violence from happening in your home? What do you think you as an individual can do in your own right to prevent it from happening? And then what do you think government can do? So therefore, maybe let me start from it. The individual, the family, the community, and then government. What are some of the solutions? And some of them may be that you have already spoken about some of those solutions, but now you are putting them in a more, if you like, sequential or categorizing them, so to speak. So that in that way, you are able to think and say, everybody has a role. And what role will it be so that we can prevent it from happening? Yes, we want ethnic community solutions. And so you see that the first three, being the individual, the family, and the community level, is more about us. But of course, governments cannot run away because there are certain things that government can do enable us to prevent it from happening in our communities in the first place that we can also suggest. So you have the next 15 minutes to have that robust discussion, and then we'll come back. I'm going to get you guys a bit of containers so that you can carry food back home so that some women can go back to bed when they get home today. Amen.
Why do you say some women?
I said some women because some women, whether they like it or not, they are still
You see your mentality.
because people may have allergies, because people may not don't like the food, because some people the food has already been good.
No, the thing is, my question is, why do you say some women can work?
Yes, because I can't speak for everyone. That's
You
all.
can speak for men and women, both.
No.
Either side. You are being gender.
Okay, so we'll be back after 15 minutes. I'm going to get to the containers, but Wallace is here. So please continue the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is the trees.
Okay, so I think that we should be wrapping up now. I know the conversation is ongoing, but we have to stop time. And we are going to give each taking 2 minutes to tell us some of the things that you guys have discussed. And we are probably interested in some of the things that we are doing at the ABC within our families, and then of course within the community that can help us with this. Of course, government is always looking to suggestions, so we could also know some of the suggestions that you think government can, you want to suggest government kind of take a look at. So can we start from table 2? Table 2.
So we're looking at what solutions will not work. And so the first thing we identified was that if we create teams about the issue, so if it's a men versus women issue, then we're not going to win. So if we create those divisions early on, then that's not going to work. We also said that looking at top-down solutions would not work as well. So approaching people, community or families with a pre-planned solution and then telling them what will work and how they should do it won't work. But instead having them involved, so more of a community involvement. And then we looked at action points, so what can be done, community, family, individual, government, and the first obvious one was the education sort of issue. And then more specifically, if you look at the individual part of it, creating a self-awareness in individuals, we thought that would be really good. For government, their education is understanding what our impression or perspective is like, and so providing, for instance, documents that state what we have gathered, and it's there in black and white, something they can refer to when they're looking at policies. Also looked at some action points as creating, or for many of these issues, perhaps there already are solutions. For instance, with the financial abuse sort of thing, assisting people with budgeting issues. So those places and facilities do exist, but are they culturally appropriate? So is it that what is there already and working, we will not access because I do not want to be seen standing in line for that budget issue? Or is it that the person that I'll meet there, I look at them and I go, there's no way you could possibly understand where I'm coming from as an African woman, and so I don't engage. And so providing solutions that are culturally safe and culturally appropriate would be good. Also looking at an awareness issue, so looking at root cause, a bit of a root cause analysis. So yes, this is what is now seen as the product of a situation, but what is the underlying situation, and then addressing those underlying factors.
Yes, and I think the last point is very, very important. And again, I keep on referring to our ladies, which I know my Ghanaian brothers and sister here know. Where we say, if you go and see two people fighting, don't ask them what happened. Ask them what happened yesterday. Because for everything that you are seeing, there is a root cause to it and all that. And so sometimes addressing those root causes, what we see is just the surface and all that. So I think it's a very great point that you have made. Table 3.
Some of the things I think you've mentioned, also written basically, citizens involved by government, which is obviously involved in the government to assist with programs where people can get some advice and information, which also includes settlement support. And maybe privately people can get financial and legal education from either fellow countrymen, leaders, or even the government can also assist them. And also the thing is, like what you have said, it's a diverse issue and very different approaches and different reasons. Like the men are saying that we always want to look at what happened, but we fail to look at the root cause. They're also mentioning the same thing. These are some of the things that we need to discuss. It's difficult for people to open up. But once they do, that is where you find that this thing has got a solution, that instead people, because they're not talking or they're not aware that there's a solution to such a problem, they are in problems.
That's very good.
I wanted to add for community, what I've seen in Telmori is that Tikanga is evolving, right? For example, we have a CEO who is a female,
Yes.
and women don't speak at the Marae,
Yes.
but they have made the dynamic such that even though somebody speaks on her behalf, they will introduce her and allow her some space, and that's sort of really bending over backwards in terms of how the norms should work. So a lot of our practices have been carried on for generations. For example, our cultural practices of the bride price, which entitles the men to all future income or future earnings or future wealth generated by the wife, no questions asked, like culturally. However, the dynamics have shifted. Maybe we can find and cover some space within our traditional practices where it's safe to tilt for those that are so inclined to still want to uphold that, like in terms of enabling our women to have a bit more voice, but still maintaining who we are.
Yeah, that's very good. Yes. Table one.
So we just talked about maybe having an effective line of communication
Yes.
on an individual level, and maybe a better understanding of each other as a couple, also understanding our culture, that we are Africans, and
Yes.
even though we are here, we on an individual level, we cannot be Europeans or Kiwis, because we know that we cannot have two bulls in one, what do you call it? Yeah, you can't have two captains on one ship. So at the end of the day, as our culture, then we need to sort of find that common ground amongst each other on an individual level. And then also education and awareness. It's important to have these workshops because sometimes I know what I'm going through, but I just don't know if it's safe for me to say it, or are there other people who are going through it. When I hear someone else going through it, then I can feel confident enough to stand up and say something about it as well, as opposed to me just being in my house to work back home every day for the next year and not knowing if anyone else will understand my situation.
Yes.
So having these education and awareness programs is very important. It will help individuals speak up. Also, we spoke about earlier, maybe having a men's refugee where men can feel confident and comfortable in a safe space to talk about things that they are going through.
Yes.
Whether it's a men's conference over beer or a braai, however makes them comfortable to just vent and talk about some of these things, so that when they do get home, they don't vent to the children, the wives, and it blows up into something else. I think also just having more gatherings, not as this awareness campaign, but just a gathering, just a fun event to get to know each other, because sometimes it can get really lonely here, and because we are both lonely, I'm going through my own things, I've got family expectations back home, you have family expectations back home, we don't have anyone else to talk to about it, we don't have anywhere to laugh and just get it off without even talking about it, just to have a laugh, just to have a fresh air, a moment. It's my days the same. I go to work, I come back. I go to work, I come back. It's the same thing. And I have no one to talk to, and I feel so far away from home. You get into depression, and it leads into the violence and everything else with the children, with the spouses, kind of thing. Also, community-based conflict resolution, like Rumba said, I think having someone that would understand my problem, because I think we talked about, if I have, for example, a Kiwi friend, and I say, oh, my husband, is doing this to me, and we're going through this, why are you still there? Right? But they don't understand. It's not, for me, in my culture, it's not as easy as just picking up my bags and walking away, especially without being educated about it, right? So having someone who understands, who can say, okay, I do get where you're coming from. Yes, I do understand ABC, this you have gone through to build this relationship or marriage. You've had your bride price paid and all of this, but you don't have to feel like, kind of explain it to me from my point of view, from my cultural point of view, and then to get me to understand that it's still okay for me to speak up or to walk away, whatever solution I would have,
Yes.
I would have choices,
Yes.
as opposed to someone who just, because it's different cultures, right? For someone it would be just normal to say, that's an easy one. It's a no-brainer. So yeah, I think that's what we.
Thank you so much. Let's clap for ourselves. We've done so well. And actually, I think that the conversation has been worthwhile. Not only in terms of rehashing some of the things that we have heard over the period as we go through various sessions, but also the new things that have come up are really important. And because of time, I'm not going to rehash them, but of course they have been captured. And then of course, we now taking time to think about that. After we have said all these, what is it that we can do ourselves as individuals, and then of course at a community level, at a family level, and of course some of these are the things that we have made to government. When I talk too much, I dilute whatever information there is. So I think the key thing for us is that we must, as it were, know very well that there is a bit of work ahead of us, which is the next test. So now we discuss now what? How we are able to carry this along and do some of the things that we have said we should see. It's very important, and that's why putting this also into a written form that people can read and also kind of run with it. And it's very good for HCW, for instance, to have it so that when it's planning, it affects some of the things that communities want around this segment, and then we can deal with it going forward. So I would like to thank you very much for coming. It's been a wonderful day with all of you. You could have been anywhere. And so thank you for taking the time to come. I will say a quick prayer before we leave, but just so you know, I've brought containers and there's enough food there. So don't feel shy. Grab a container, fill up your bowl. The bowls are big enough, 1,750 ml. So you can carry quite a lot. Yes, and not 8 kg. And then you can help yourself and take some supper home. But to let you know that once the publication does happen, we'll put it out, and so you will see, and definitely you see some of your voices and some of the things that you have said reflected in the document. Julius, if you can let the kids come, if all the kids can come, all the kids should come. Yes. Maybe you have to get the wall. Yes, before we close up. So I'll just basically say the Lord be with you, the Lord protect you, and make his face shine upon you and give you peace. Grant you traveling mercies as you go back till we meet again. So, thank you for your time. Thank you. If you are not in a rush, you can help us. Basically, we are going to collapse these tables and put all of them into the room here. The chairs, we are going to have them, each of them to be 10, or you make them 12. I think we need to get about 2
All right. Bye-bye to everyone watching.
Once you have
come to the end.
Bye. The dishes, put it on the side, and then we can take those tables also us. Thank you so much.